Hello, look at this little cutie, a little bit different to what we normally do. Something that I saw on YouTube, and have totally changed it and made it even cuter. And the best thing about it, it's like so easy to make. So you can make it silly like this with a face, or you can also make it super sensible and classy for your home. Also, really good use of, like, hopefully scraps material, and even like old clothes. So I've seen lots of stuff online recently where people have been cutting up old jumpers and things. So yeah, keep that in mind. So try not to go out and buy new things, or even go to the thrift store and see if they have any like scrap material that they can give you. So yeah, I'll go through how to make it. I'm Gemma, by the way, here in Cardiff. And yeah, nice. Well, no, it's not actually a nice day. It was okay when I got here, but looking out the window now, it's rainy. So perfect to be indoors doing crafts. So the first thing I did was I just got some material that doesn't fray, is probably the most important thing for this. I'm using this kind of polar fleece that we have here for lots of kids projects. And like I said, that would be very good if you've got an old fleece that's come to the end of its life. But also you could use sheets of felt, or upholstery fabric often doesn't fray. If it frays, it'll make it a little bit difficult. A little bit thicker is probably best as well, because of the first stage that we're about to do. Now, to cut it into a circle, I didn't use anything special. I just use a plate, and then I just cut around a bit bigger than the plate, because the plate was a little bit smaller than what I wanted. So I just kind of guessed, because it doesn't really matter if it's not a perfect circle, because it's all going to be gathered up. So that size circle, I should get a ruler actually, but I'd say it was about 35 centimeters wide, has made a pumpkin that big. So obviously if it was a little bit smaller, your pumpkin would be a bit smaller, or you could go really big depending on the fabric that you've got. And the other supplies that I've got are these pipe cleaners that are easy to get hold of, but again, you could always just use some kind of that nice brown wire, would look quite nice if you were making a classier version. I've got some embroidery thread and needles in my little sheep. I've got a bunch of different glues. I'll talk about those in a moment. I just popped a hot glue gun on, so that's almost ready to use. The glues, like I said, I'll explain in a minute, because you don't actually have to have all those different glues. Obviously, if you've got time at home, you can use any glue and just leave it to dry, but I'll go through that when we get to it. I've got my little jar of buttons to make a face. And then I've got a different colour felt, or non-fraying fabric, and that's going to be what I use for my leaf and my top of my stalk there. Again, I've seen lots of good videos online where they use things like corks and stuff inside here, also like just cardboard rolled up with twine wrapped around it, all sorts of lovely ideas. So I'll show you how to make this way, but I'll try and remember other things that I've seen whilst learning to make this, so that you can make it nice and easily at home. All right, so the first thing we need to do is add a little face to this. Like I said, some people might want to skip this, but if you're doing it with kids, they might enjoy adding a little character to their design. Be careful with fleece, it's not that obvious, but there is a front and a back. That's the back there, and that's the front. And I folded it in half, just so I've kind of got a rough idea where I need the face to be. So that bit's going to be gathered, and then that bit's going to be the base. So I kind of need to be in the middle of the half there. I won't spend ages doing a face, because it's kind of, like I say, quite a personal thing, but I'll just roughly go through what I did. So I just got some black embroidery thread. I've always got like quite a long nail on my thumb, and I've broken it, and it's like I suddenly can't do anything. Things that I've done easily, like do a knot, and they're really tricky. I realise how much I must have used it. Anyway, sorry. So I'm just going to put a little face here. If you're not feeling very confident, you could add it with a bit of chalk, or gently with a pencil. And I'm just going to jump in and do it. So all I'm going to do is obviously only going through the one layer. I know I've got it folded in half, but that's more to just help me know where I need to put the face. I'm just going to place my needle on the back side, so that the knot ends up there, as you do with any sewing project. And then you can start creating a face. So I'm just going to do a little, I feel like I should do a different one to before. I'll just do a straight line, like a kind of surprised pumpkin. I wouldn't be surprised if I've already said octopus. I feel like I keep saying octopus today. What's wrong with me? So apologies if I keep saying that. So I'm just going to do a straight line. Okay, so I've just gone in and out, doing some stitches like so. If you don't want a dash line, then you could do back stitch, or now you could go back and do stitches the other way. The other alternative would be that you could use felt to add any face details. Then adding a button, that's nice and easy. So you just come out to the front, grab a button, you could layer them up so they look kind of like 2-layer eyes. Oh, look, if I got a white one, if I've got a small dark one, that's quite cute. All right, so then you'll be coming up through the button. I'm going to go through my little grey one. Oh, did I just do the sin of sewing? I did, didn't I? Came out of the front when I was already at the back. 2 seconds, also just rethread that. I'm basically just going to sew those buttons on together. I do it without a needle thread. Yeah. Oh, I missed one. Okay. There you go. All right, so I should put some Halloween music on. It's very quiet today. So as always, in the comments, let me know if you have any questions. Potentially they're not live today, but I always check afterwards, so look out for a reply later if you don't see it, if I don't say it now. There you go, can you see? So I've done my little eye. I probably should have checked before I started that I had 2 of those, but I don't mind odd things. Some people would find that quite stressful, but I quite like, I think I found it anyway. Similar but different. So I'm just going to do the other half of that eye. So you could spend as much or as little time on the face as you liked. Little cheeky faces, little naughty faces, the whole family. And just do the other one quickly, and then I'll show you the amazing, easy gathering process. In, out. So I've just lined up a couple of sessions for November for craft, for those who like a Christmas craft, obviously now. We'll do macrame little Santas on the 5th of November. And then my mum's going to join me on the 14th of November, and she's a brilliant painter. I'm going to show you how to paint your own Christmas cards, and I'll show you then how you could easily send them to your printers or print them at home so that you have lots of cards ready to go. Oh, there's my little face there. So I don't need that thread anymore, so I'm just going to pop a knot on the back. I always pop my hand on top of it as it lowers, and I find that means that it lands just where I want it to go. Cool. All right, I did prepare a thread earlier. Let me find it. I think that's the one. Here we go. All right, so what we're going to do now is I got a nice big knot at the end of that thread there. I'm just going to start anywhere near the edge of the circle, again with the knot on the ugly side. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a big running stitch all the way round. All right. I'm going to go pretty huge for this video, but you could obviously go a bit smaller. Go, so you can see, just whizzing around the whole circumference of the circle with a running stitch. That, when I gather it up, is going to make me a ball. As simple as that. So then, I will be a few minutes doing this, so I'll just have a little chat once I do that. So then you can start thinking about decorations then. I'm also going to show you a little trick that you can do at the end so that it kind of looks a bit more pumpkin-like rather than just a circle. And again, depending on the age, if you do this with kids, you could obviously skip any of these stages really. So that would also be one that is a little bit trickier, the next stage. So you could decide whether it's suitable or not for whoever you're doing it with, because a circle is quite cute, to be honest. I'm also doing this activity in different colours and making like little plushie toys. So that would also you don't have to just do pumpkins. And I imagine I keep saying octopus, maybe that's a sign that you could probably make an octopus out of it as well. So in and out all the way around. It is quite enjoyable, this. I think my needle isn't that sharp, so it's giving me a bit of a workout. So make sure you choose a nice sharp needle when you do this. Is it looking like a shower cap already? One, two, nearly there. One, two. So my thread is running out now a bit, but it's okay because when I pull it, there'll be loads more. There we go. Leave the thread out for now. All right, so I'm not going to pull it all the way because obviously I want to make sure that I've got enough space to stuff it in a second. But that's literally, I'll come and say hi again. That's literally where I'm at the moment. So I've just got my little funny little shower cap ready to stuff. Now, what I find when I stuff it, I go on about this a lot with all my workshops, is I use these HelloFresh liners. They are readily available. Like everyone, not everyone, but lots of people get HelloFresh deliveries, and I think Gusto. I'm not sure they have this padded stuff actually. So you just literally tear it up, and it works really well for stuffing. Also for stuffing can be on socks, scraps of fabric. If you knit, there's always like ends of yarns that you can use to stuff things. So yes, try them again. Get creative without having to go out and buy stuffing, or maybe even just an old cushion at home that has seen better days and is, you could do with updating. Treat yourself rather than going out and buying stuffing, which is always really pricey. It always really surprises me. So yeah, when torn up, it makes a really good stuffing. So I'm just going to pop that inside there. I'm not going to super overstuff it. I'll probably add a bit more stuffing afterwards. But the next stage, when I do the sewing to create the shape of the pumpkin, that can be a bit tricky if there's too much stuffing in there, because you've got to, put your needle through all the layers of stuffing. So don't go too wild at this stage. Just get it roughly shaped, and then we can stuff a bit more in there afterwards. There we go. I feel quite happy that that's roughly shaped there. Get his face nice and clear. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to close them a bit more. Put it back down again. All right, I'm going to close them a bit more, but again, not all the way. His face is starting to look more obvious. I'm not going to knock that one off yet because I'm going to just do the other one and then I'm going to sort that one out. So randomly, I've got another needle set up. I'm going to pop a knot on the end of that with my my weird short nail that's making life difficult. I literally can't do anything. Just going to do it in a different way. Just do a cheat way. I don't know if you ever do this. I sometimes just fold. I was struggling to get those on top of each other. So I folded the end of the thread in half. And therefore, when I do the knot now, it's nice and big. It doesn't, I wouldn't normally do that, but that's quite a good way when you need, I know that that's 100% going inside and it needs to be quite big. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in, I'm going to find the center of my pumpkin. I'm going to aim for that spot there, roughly. I'm just going to go in, pop my needle out, and then knot will be there on the inside, like so. I'm then going to think about my divisions. I obviously don't want to squash his face too much. So I'm just going to go to the one side of his face, and then I'm just going to put my stuffing back down through the middle. So my needle back down through the middle, and then I'm coming back out again. Pull it quite tight, but not super tight. Then I'm going to do another division. Maybe not taking that needle off wasn't my best thought. I don't actually need that one. I'll put that inside so it's not in my way. Then doing another division, coming down through the center. Testing your ability to come out through the same place. Like so. this is just single threads. I had quite a long thread there. It was probably almost, well, it's less than a metre, but it wasn't far off. But I think it might be a bit short actually. So just a heads up, go long or you'll have to do it twice. And then yeah, I'm just almost running out. So I'm just going to do another one the other side of his face for now. But I think I needed a bit longer. I think I would have done it one more time if I'd had enough stuff. Oh, needle come off. There we go. All right, let me put it back up again. All right, so you'll see that now he's got all the sections, and then I'm just going to find that end. Here he is. Find the end that I finished on, and I'm just going to thread him back in and knot him back in. Just go back down again. There you go. Then I can sort out the stuffing, finish off the gathers. So like I said, I would have done one more section, but I won't make you wait for that. I actually have a hot glue gun on. It's like a big blob of glue on the table. So I'm just going to knot that. I'm going to knot it underneath itself, but also I'm going to thread it back in then. So I just popped a sneaky little knot there, and then I'm going to go inside. I want the end to be on the inside. Pull it out and pull the needle out. You could also knot that to itself. Right, hopefully with all that me messing around, yeah, no, it's okay. I thought I might have lost this. There you go, and now I can pull this one nice and tight now. Oh, but first I'll put a bit more stuffing in it. So I can now position my stuffing exactly where I want it. So there's a big like flat bit there, so I'm just going to put a bit more stuffing in there. So yeah, we get these HelloFresh donated. I don't actually request them anymore because so many people bring them to us without me even asking. So yeah, if you are a crafter, they have many uses. I highly recommend finding out if any friends get them, even if they just get them occasionally with the special offers like lots of people do. So just stuff it where you think would be good. There you go. I think that looks a little better. And now pull this one tight. All right. Cute. I do want to leave a tiny hole at the top because later on I'm going to be stuffing in there that the kind of stalk, is it? The stalk at the top. So I don't want it to be totally closed. Otherwise that's going to be a bit tricky. I need that kind of surface for the glue. So I'm just going to pop a knot in it. If I had my needle on now, I'd probably then thread it to like another side to make sure it was really secure. So you could always do that. There we go. Just stuff that thread in there for now. That can add to the stuffing. There we go. Like I said, it still needs a little bit of poking, but you can spend a bit more time on yours. So you've got your little pumpkin there. All right, and then I'll talk you through what I do to make the other bits. So I've again got some other fleece, but again, you could use any fabric that doesn't fray. I'm going to cut myself one rectangle. That's going to be the stalk. I'll show you now how big that is. I'm going to go for that size. A little guesswork there, but I reckon if I roll that up, it's going to make a nice stalk. And then I'll glue that immediately actually, just because I find that obviously I don't really want to use hot glue gun on this. I'd rather use just like a normal glue. So you know, if you've ever watched any of my videos, is that I love Yoo-hoo. I think it's the fluffy side. I don't like that edge actually, so I am going to use the fluffy side. I'm going to glue that down. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue over the surface of it there, and then I'm going to roll it up. Yeah, Yoo-hoo features in like all my classes. I just think it's quite easy to use. It's quite cheap, readily available, and it dries in like a nice amount of time. You can kind of relax it. It dries in like 5-10 minutes. So it's just, yeah, it has loads of really good uses. So just rolling that up and then leaving that for a couple of minutes to dry. I normally love a peg. If I had a clothes peg now, I'd pop that on it. Give it any tidying up that it needs, because that's going to be seen. And then just make sure that you've got enough glue on that final little bit so that it doesn't unravel. That's the most important bit, glue there. Cool, we're actually going to glue that into the pumpkin last, so put that aside for a minute. Then start working on your leaves. So you can decide what shape they are, but I did have a little Google and it looks like they're kind of this sort of shape. So again, you could do like a paper template, but you know me, I'm a little bit of a risk taker. I'm just going to do it freehand. I'll just do one for today. One nice big one on this one. So cut your shape of your leaf. Maybe I should use a template. Cool. Happy with that. There you go. So that can be glued on immediately. So think about where it is in comparison to the little face there. I'm just going to put him by there. I'm going to put him down first. Like I said, hot glue would be good for me now where I make it quite quickly. But if you're doing it at home, if you use a different type of glue, that would be totally fine as long as you just left it for a little while to dry. This is my new favourite glue, Beacon 3-in-1. I've just bought it randomly, but it's a bit more expensive than Yoo-Hoo, but it is a little bit stronger, I think. So all I did there was just put a little bit of glue, and obviously if you're doing this with kids, just be careful. I like it that it flaps around, but if you wanted to, you could sew it on. There's also, you could also add like sewing lines to this to give this more texture, to make it more interesting. These are super easy. This is great fun. So all you do is you could use your finger, or you could use a Pritt stick or a pencil or anything round to basically just roll them round. And you've got your shape. I'm just using my finger. Like so. Loads of fun. And again, lots of different alternatives you could use for that. Anything that's bendy and wiry would be great. And you could always coat it yourself with something else if it wasn't the right colour that you wanted. So again, a little bit of hot glue gun. And again, definitely help if it's with kids. Try not to touch the glue, obviously. So I'm just pressing the wire against the fabric there, putting one on the right, one on the left. I'm not too worried about how they look right now because I can fix them afterwards, but I've made sure that they're roughly either side of the face. And the final step, so I should wait a little bit, make sure that glue's dry because I really need to stuff this in there. Choose which side of this you like the best. I think I actually like this side that's kind of a bit uneven. I think it looks a bit more pumpkin-like. And then just pumping some glue around the edges of the hole that you've left. And then just getting this and just kind of forcing it in, giving it a little wobble. And again, like I said, if you're doing this with kids, and like we'll do it with kids next week, we'll definitely be doing that stage for them so they don't have to do it themselves. And then rearrange all your little bits. I think my face is a tiny bit too low. I think that eye in particular, but anyway, gives him character. And I think, again, if I was to make him again, I'd probably add a little bit more stuffing, but I'm quite happy with him. I think he's got a little bit of character. And again, when the glue dries a bit, I'll probably push around the stuffing a little bit more to make him a little bit more even. But yeah, now I've got a little pair of pals. So I'm ready to go and do some trick-or-treating. So yeah, any questions, let me know. And if you get a chance to make any, do tag us in any pictures. And then hopefully I'll see you in November for some festive crafting as well. All right, see you then. Bye.